Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the Gaia Daily for November 16th through 20th, 2020. Well, here we are. We're in a huge culmination of energies. I keep saying this, I think, for 2020. It's like the epic story continues because we are feeling today an exact Venus in square to Jupiter and Pluto. We've been feeling this for a few days through the weekend, through the new moon. We're coming out of this new moon in Scorpio energy, kind of like that darkest dark, going into the cave, into facing the music. And Venus is in square to Jupiter and Pluto and moves right into a square with Saturn. So the whole story of 2020 is about Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn in Capricorn, right? Like that's how we started Saturn and Pluto conjunction in January. And so here we are, we're coming to this culmination place because this is the last. So when the big planets do their thing, they're kind of in the background, in the backdrop. And it isn't until our personal planets, our day-to-day planets that move quicker, interact with these planets that we really feel this energy. And so Venus, the goddess at home in Libra, speaking to, can we get back to the goodness of life? You know, what are we doing here? Can we see across the lines of our relationships, break through and experience human connection, break through the walls and boundaries, have justice and harmony and peace and love and celebration, you know, as we move into this holiday season. And so Venus is standing there, you know, representing this, you know, standing there in her strength and her vulnerability and saying, you guys, we can't go forward this way. You know, we've got to get back. It's like we're on the verge of losing control of the planet. I mean, we haven't really had it, but like really losing control of our minds, of our reality, of our freedoms. And this is all being shown to us right now in a very dark, scary movie beyond what we could imagine that happened really fast. And Venus is there being like, hey, not on my watch. Right? And this is the righteous in all of us, especially now that we have Mars direct. So Mars turned direct on Friday, but with that new moon energy, and Mars is going to take a while to get going. I think it's like, let's see when Mars moves to 16, it's at 15 degrees where it turned direct. So next week, Mars will finally like really start moving. But we're feeling this like, okay, it's time to go. And yet we've got this square energy being like, we can't actually go till we get some of this stuff sorted out, right? And that is everything the astrology is speaking to right now. And Venus standing up and saying, if humanity doesn't stand up for humanness and for each other and come together right now, we are lost. We need justice. We need harmony. We need peace. We need connection. You know, it's like we're starting to see that we're in this big psyop, and all of the methods of mind control and coercion that you would find like in secret programs and, you know, that kind of thing. You know, kind of brainwashing, mind control, that's being used on us en masse, you know. Whew. And Venus is like standing up. She's like, you guys, this is our last chance. If we don't claim it now, we're done for. And it's like claiming, you know, standing up for what's right, what's good and true. And I see her just naked there, like just standing up in the true human qualities. And that's that righteousness. And pretty powerful in square to Jupiter and Pluto as they're separating out, right? We had that exact, they're still 1 degree. They're 1 degree apart until the 24th of November. So we're still in the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction, and we still want to use this energy to our advantage, which is the kind of the theme today. Like, breakdown, breakthrough. And that's where we're at. We've got to break down. It's like, that place, because it's really interesting how the world stage, the macrocosm, right, and what's playing out in the world and in the bigger picture of our dimensional shift. And it's also playing out in our personal reality. And so in our personal relationships, when you get to that place where it's like tension builds, and then and then you can come back to resolution and break down. It has to break down before you can break through to see each other on the other side and find that peace and harmony. Now, that peace and harmony, after you go to the darkness, after you face the music, after you talk about the elephant in the room, it's way more sustainable, right? As long as you're avoiding all the unspoken stuff, you can't really get to peace and harmony. And that's just such a powerful theme right now, because we still have the sun in Scorpio. We've got Mercury in Scorpio. And Venus will be moving into Scorpio on the 22nd. So we'll kind of extend this Scorpio season energy. And that's actually a really good thing for us right now, because we have to face the darkness to get to the light. And Venus in square to Jupiter and Pluto is like breakdown, breakthrough. We got, in that relationship, like say in our personal relationships. And then that's exactly what's going on in the macrocosm as well. That coming to a head energy. And so we're going to feel that this whole week, because yesterday and today, Venus exact square Jupiter, Pluto, and that influence is going to continue. And then Venus comes right into a square with Saturn. These planets are close right now. Saturn's on his way to Aquarius, though, like really getting excited about building something new and losing patience for playing out the authority for us, like the, oh, no, you don't, in the laws and the rules. It's like Aquarian age has a whole different set of laws, right? It's like not beholden to the physical in the way that we, Saturn represents the physical manifest world. And Saturn on Aquarius is like, totally different thing, totally different relationship to time, totally different relationship to the physical, and an opportunity to see ourselves more connected and working as an organism. And our organism is sick. It's got like an organ that's like, if you look at the big collective consciousness, and it's been fine for we've made it this far somehow, getting through, but it's like that concentrated sick organ. And I think, I only believe in surgery really as a last resort, but a complete last resort. You should increase the health of the whole organism, to heal that organ. But at this point, we got to cut that organ out, and this is like the darkest dark, blackest black, and it's got to get revealed. It's like, I can see this black goo energy in that organ, like the secrets, the distortions, deep, dark, spiritual and sexual distortions that have been going on for thousands of years. And it's got to get revealed. We've got to like bring that into the light and get rid of that sick organ, So this Venus coming into square with Saturn, though, is bringing up the energies of that authority, right? It's like, oh, you think you're going to take back charge of your planet, huh? Oh, you're going to take back charge of your mind. Oh, no, you don't. Get back in your corner, that authority energy that says like, you can't handle. And this is an interesting energy, which I bet will bloom for us personally and collectively this week. And I'm seeing it everywhere. And so be really mindful of this, because there's a huge breakthrough available around this energy. In spiritual work, what I found, and it's really huge right now, because everything that gathers light and a spiritual organization, spiritual movement, spiritual teachings, is that over time, in this last period of time, has been infiltrated by distortion. It's almost like it's like attacked from within. And then there's an energy of like just something's off in the teachings, and it represents what I found is that as you go through your spiritual evolution, as you go through your spiritual awakening, you're going to come into multiple levels of authority contracts. And these contracts are where you agreed something else was more powerful than who you are, you know? And it's almost like, well, there's this council and you got to talk to them, you got to work with them. And it's like, what if, no? What if that's all a play of the lower matrix? What if we need to like not have any councils and go direct to the higher self, the part of you that's rolling with God consciousness that's right there, the part of you that, and just work direct there. And of course, that's exactly the energy of Saturn, is this guardian of the threshold, where we ourselves have created a boundary because of fear programming from past lives. So like, don't go any further than that. Like you can't go any higher than that. It's like a ceiling. And this is coming up huge in crown chakra healings, activations right now, where it's like, it's just like this, something is going to push you back down if you go too far. And that's always going to be an energy of fear and anxiety and an energy of authority. Like, oh, no, you don't. You can't handle your own power. It's like, okay, so let's just think about this for a minute. Why would we have access to this intuitive power, full awareness of it on another level, that we've actually fully embodied and worked with this energy in this earth evolution in the past? We agreed to forget. But why would we have it accessible to us? Why would we go through all of this if we're not here to use it and access it? It's crazy. And it's all the SuperNova Soul cares about. Ultimately, everything you want in your life is about a full expression of who you are as a full spiritual human being. Beautiful. So beautiful. If we can put the human qualities that they've been trying to steal from us by like infecting us with nanite technology and toxins to like separate us, steal our soul, the narcissistic, parasitic lower matrix, and the beautiful human qualities of feeling and sensitivity and compassion, and join that with this exalted spiritual being of who you really are, except for that you agreed to forget and you agreed to never come into your power. And it's like, that's exactly what's on the table now. And Venus is standing up right there as this goddess taking back her temple, coming back to earth as the exalted divine feminine, the Christed feminine, and saying, hey, you guys, we got to do it this way. We've got to have justice, and we've got to have peace, in order to have peace and harmony, we got to have justice. And so a huge bloom of this. I feel like just talking about it will help you see this throughout this week, because the energy is so strong of that empathic, intuitive part of you, that healer, the light worker that is associated with feminine. We all have feminine and masculine within, right? But this Venus square Saturn is kind of like, where that empath, that light worker got beaten down by this world and persecuted. And that light was called a bad thing, and it's like, we got to turn the tables on this one. We're not getting anywhere into the Aquarian age, So this is the quintessential essence of what's going on. And I'm seeing it with this Mars direct. I'm seeing these light workers stand up. And like, I know for me, I saw like, it's so much easier in these times to not speak your truth of what I mean, it has been, right? The silencing, the masking. It's exactly the feminine voice. And it's getting really hard to not speak your truth in the moment. Like I see it in light workers. I see this empowerment of like, I don't really give a crap about how this is going to affect you right now. I'm going to sing the song, and I'm going to sing the song of truth, and I'm going to sing a song of what's righteous, and a whole Piscean age persecution that's trying to work out was that saying that the dark was the righteous, and this light we're talking about, it's interesting because there's this, it's the play of the dark and the light and sing yin and the yang, and you have to just get out of it, right? But it's like the light we're talking about is the light. It's the light that holds all. And when you're in alignment with that, you're in alignment with God consciousness, you're in alignment with source, you're in alignment with that righteousness. And it always will win in the end, and it's always stronger. And I'm just seeing this beautiful Venus empowerment of the feminine, and she doesn't care. She's like, I'll stand naked in front of you. And she's like vulnerable and blinded, and they're, like she's in the shooting range, and it's like this is this energy of like, life as a robot controlled in a COVID camp is not life. And so those of us who have, there's just this powerful energy of reincarnated American revolutionaries and energies of this last battle for planet Earth, for our freedoms, for humanity, for humanness is happening in America, right here, right now. And these reincarnated souls coming into their power and being like, we're not going to take it. You pushed us far enough now. And we're willing to put everything on the line for this and to honor those that have fallen in the past to fight for this freedom. These were what I've been shown is like the revolutionaries, and the American Revolution, there's a supernova bloom at that time, enlightened beings, and crafting this government with brilliancy in order to withstand this type of test. And those souls back on the planet that gave their life and gave everything to maintain this freedom are here and landing and embodying. And it is the second American Revolution, except for it's a revolution for the whole world. The whole world is watching, and I, the whole like this, and they've already given away their guns. So we're the last battle. And then, but also that this is an AI fight to the death, because it's freeing all these other planets from the AI influence if we manage to do it here, which we've already won. We're doing it. It's happening, right? But this week, man, the intense energy, because Venus in square to Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn. And so the intensity of that, the exactness of that started yesterday, Sunday, and it goes until like Thursday, Friday. So it's like this whole week. But it's interesting because after those come off, then the sun moves into Sagittarius this weekend. And so, we're in this like crux of the last battle. And so for the SuperNova Soul, it's really important, of course, same message, to be in your lodge, be in your peace, be in that new Earth 5D energy, your peace and presence in your ceremonial space. This week is a crucial turning point for humanity. And the other part of that, it's so beautiful, really, when you put it all together in this tapestry. Like, I've talked about how you can't take the problem with astrology, just like the problem with medicine, is you can't take one part of the body and work with it alone. We're part of a whole, and that's why this deep, dark, satanic ritual abuse shit can't go on our planet anymore, because we're part of a whole. We're moving into a more collective consciousness, more empathy, that as we evolve, that's what happens. And we can't have that shit go on and be healthy. Right? So there's that sick organ. And, but this beautiful, in astrology, it's like, that's part of the problem, like everything, it's all been compartmentalized, and people take one aspect of one thing that's happening or one thing in the birth chart and say, oh, well, this is what it is. And it's like, no, you got to look at the whole picture. And what an amazing moment this is, as intense as it is, Venus in her home sign in square to these big power player planets, saying, hey, you guys, don't forget about me. Never underestimate the goddess and her power, willing to get up out of the gutter, willing to get up out of that persecution energy and still stand for what's right and good and true. And so she's willing to go to go up against this for us, which is cool because there is some powerful women. You know, we've had so many women leaders come to the fore in our world, except for that they're really men. They're like really men, like they're not really embodying the feminine power. You know, it's like they're in a female body, but it seems, who knows, right? They're like, and there's these leaders coming forward right now that are rocking this world in that righteousness of the goddess. And how beautiful, with Venus and her home sign of Libra and Mars and his home sign of Aries, now direct, working together. They had just had that opposition. And so it's time to break down, break through, get this organ dialed, you know. So Mars direct, Venus in square to the big players. Mars is going to come into its interaction. It's square with these players, but only Pluto in December, right for the solstice. This interesting energy, and more information coming out about that. But then the third and final square that Mars has with these planets happens in January. So, so Venus is the last one to interact with them all together in Capricorn. And that's where we are. And again, it's like, this is epic times. You're going to look back at this, not realizing you were in a revolution, and be like, whoa, I lived through that time. And somehow I broke through, and I freed my mind, and I held my space, right? And so we've got Venus in this intense, powerful square saying, you know, guys, sorry, you know, get that distortion bullshit out of here. And then Mars ready to support that divine goddess, you know, in this new spiritual warrior way, and working together finally again. You know, that's been the whole reason how we've been so overtaken by these energies, is that divide and conquer, you know, infiltrating every movement and turning people against each other, going back to that spiritual, what's happened in spiritual movements, you know. And but see, the crux here, the key energy is we're coming into this exact today. For the next 3 days, we're going to be feeling this exact Mercury opposite Uranus. Mercury, having gone, you know, went into Scorpio, retrograded back into Libra, into Scorpio, and now it's third and final opposition with Uranus, the awakener of the earth, in Taurus, the awakening, the revolution of our relationship to physical form, our relationship to wealth, our self-worth as spiritual beings. And so this third and final Mercury opposition, you know, Uranus is like, it's a vibrational, unexpected shift. And Mercury in Scorpio is like the dark recesses of our consciousness, of our mind, you know, where we've been taken over by the AI machine, by the lower matrix psychological brain. And I know you know this. I mean, even though we don't know the details of this, it will come out, and it's really important. But, you know, when you've had that feeling like dark thoughts, and you know they're not your thoughts, they're like being piped in, you know, and it's an elaborate system of control that uses electromagnetic frequencies and microwave frequencies, and, you know, weather, aerial spraying and nanite technology. And it's like, but it's interesting because like, whoa, they're doing all this to us and we're still awakening. And all that stuff needs money and energy to keep it going, right? So what's happening right now, the breakdown that's really happening with that Jupiter Pluto is a breakdown of the lower matrix. If we took all the mind control and whatever the heck they're doing to us away, we'd go kind of crazy, you know. So it has to be gradual. But that's what's happening. And on another hand, truth isn't going to be gradual. The truth is going to be hard and fast, an avalanche. And so we're kind of feeling this, like, you know, this uncomfortable feeling in the collective around this. But Mercury opposite Uranus this week, while Venus is in square to these planets and Mars is just getting his momentum back, whoa, it's like, free that mind, free that mind. And so when you do have that lower matrix energy and those thoughts and that goo, the black goo energy, and you're like, that's not me, that's not real, that's there. I'm going to put my energy and my attention on this exalted goddess who's coming into her power, you know? And so many light workers don't even realize, because of these persecution energies that really kind of bloomed in the Piscean age, you subconsciously turn your light down, especially now with a lot of this quarantine energy, and you'll be in your own space and you develop your own vibe and then go out and be around people. And, you know, this is going to be more and more evident where you like turn it down, and we can't do that anymore, you know? And it's like overcoming all these stories of that persecution, because it's like, yeah, what are you going to do? Because we've overcome now the karma of being killed for who we are in our light. That's, you know, part of why we went through that stuff. And it's like, yeah, come on, come and get it. You know, you want some more of that? I'm going to turn it up for you. And this is actually what's breaking the lower matrix, is the light workers, you know, in this receiving this light coming in. So put your attention there. It's really important. Going back to just completing my thought with this Mercury Uranus, the awakening of the mind, Venus square Saturn, the mind control, you know, the authority energies, and recognizing this pattern this week, huge revelations for the light worker of not realizing that as you go through your spiritual awakening, and of course you'll find different groups, different energies, different teachers, but what I've been shown is a deep mystery here around levels of authority. And you'll break through on a spiritual level, and then there's a new level of authority. And this is like manifests as false guidance. It's where we've given our power away to energies that we were actually more powerful. We just were naive and we let ourselves get beaten down and we agreed to forget. And, you know, and it's like game over. Venus is standing up, you know, and, so those authority contracts are going to be coming up where maybe teachers, organizations, energies, it's not like the individuals, it's like an infiltration energy. It's like, but you really gotta, it may be revealed to you, these contractual arrangements of where you said, oh, well, this council of guidance, which you thought was trying to help you and support you, is actually limiting you, making you feel. So the key energy around that is a disempowerment energy. Like, well, we're going to tell you all this knowledge and all this great stuff, but you can't do anything about it, you know? And that disempowerment feeling, that's where you're going to find those authority contracts. And these spiritual authority contracts is like, you know what? No, I'm not working with you councils, you know, because I don't trust where you're coming from. I'm going to go direct and get my message there and only work with what resonates deep in my soul that can come through my higher self. So anyway, it's an interesting energy. That's a huge shift for the light workers, recognizing where just this deep desire, it's like we've been quarantined from our spiritual support and quarantined from that true spiritual guidance. So we take whatever we can get, right? This is the story. This is the coercion. This is the ongoing narcissistic relationship that is life on earth. You know, it's like, well, we'll cut you off from everything else so that you'll beg for what we give you. Right? And we've given our control over to a level that's scary. And, but that light worker energy, that light code's being activated, coming in, being like, I'm not going to stand down. I don't care the effect my light has on you. And, you know, if you're not righteous in this energy, then get the F out of the way. If you're not helping, you're hurting. And just get off my cloud. You know, so good luck. And I'll be out with some eclipse energy updates, because we're moving into the first, it looks like, I think there's 3 eclipses this time, 2 very partial eclipses, and then a total solar eclipse on the 14th, just huge energy. So I'll get some information out about that, because the first eclipse is on the 30th of November, that full moon in Gemini. So we're moving right into that energy. And so sit tight in the light. Know that this is a huge crux week. But the other thing I wanted to mention is that when the sun moves into Sagittarius, which is right around Thanksgiving in the US, that is a marker. And Rudolf Steiner talked about what he calls Michaelmas, the season that we're in. And it starts, Michaelmas Day is September 29th. And that starts this every year, our opportunity. It fits the Northern Hemisphere story, but really it's for all of us. But going into the darkness to slay our inner dragon, right? To find our inner light. And so it's always a time of, it fits Scorpio season, right? And then as soon as that sun moves into Sagittarius, it's a shift of like, oh, we found our inner light. We made it through the dark tunnel of darkness. And we know there's a lot of stuff that's going to be sorting out all into January. But this week is this crux of the tension, the breakdown, and then the breakthrough comes. So hold tight and know that this is this culmination energy of 2020, and you want to be present for this because it's we're writing history, and turning the tides. So thanks so much for being here, being brave, being a supernova soul, squeezing yourself into this lower dimension. And are you ready to be in that bigger self? Are you ready to breathe again? Are you ready to have space and support for what's more true, which is your higher spiritual abilities? And it's time. So I'm so glad we're here together. I look forward to seeing you soon on the next update. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.